set up a blind. We'll hang out here for a little while. Hopefully some of these deer work off of these ridge tops when people walk in and scare them maybe towards us if we get lucky. Got my buddy Blake down Game Home to do some gun hunting. Hopefully we make this a yearly tradition.
Yes, sir.
Last year we went, and 2 years in a row. Yeah. We didn't have any luck. We tracked a deer for a little while though. I had some blood and big old footprints, so somebody got one. I want to sit here and enjoy some breakfast. Hopefully a deer walks by.
Mac. Mac.
Still up there. Alright, little mid-afternoon update. It worked probably, a good 200 yards from the last setup. And we're back in, basically, on a saddle back on this oak ridge. And it hooks into a big, flat of bedding, pretty much what we're sitting on. Found some fresh poop, so threw up the blind. Want to sit here till dark. We got plenty of trails cutting in through here, so should be a good gun season spot. We're hoping that mid-afternoon we'll bring some hunters in from lunch and they'll spook some up and they'll come in this way, working down the bottoms. Basically, we climbed up a little break in the high wall to get up here to basically bypass walking through all the bedding. We had a guy walk in on us in the morning, so we decided to just head straight up from behind where we were. It ended up being a nice spot. There's plenty of oaks up here. Had a deer work right in front of us. It should be a perfect spot. It's been several hours since we've heard any shots. stopped right behind some brush. She took off and worked her way down the ridge. And she might work her way back up here. Good morning, folks. It's Ohio 2022 gun season. It's opening day. Got the boy Blake with me. What's going on? You guys might, by now, I might actually have that fishing video done that we did. But anyway, we're out here gun hunting today. I'm trying to make it a tradition to do at least one day a year of gun hunting together. So we're out here on some public land. We got settled in our first little spot, and I wanted to wait until I could see a little bit better to get over to this side. And we had a freaking Elmer Fudd walking behind us, just tromping through the woods right at gray light, even though we got here probably 45 minutes before he did. But that's public land for you. Anyway, we're going to sit here probably till about 9 o'clock or so. And we're going to work down into this bottom and try to catch any deer that's being pushed by all of these thousands of people that are part of the Orange Army today. So, wishing some luck when you get Blake on a buck. Or me, I'll be happy to.
Alright folks, it's freaking 9 o'clock and we had the old Orange Army crawl in right behind us and freaking slammed one not too far from us, and pretty much walked right through everything, and we decided that we were going to get up out of here. And at first I was like, we might not have to go too far, and we drove 30 yards down the road and we got 12 out of state tags. We're getting out of here. We'll see you when we get away from some folks. I'm still confident we got some time to kill a deer. Know a few honey holes, and we'll jump something up, slam one. Oh, and another out of state tag.
Alright folks, first day at gun season here in Ohio. I'm out. I ran down over this hill to grab one of my trail cameras before somebody sees it and takes it or shoots it. People are just flat out disrespectful on public land, but I did retrieve it successfully, and I'm down here in this bottom checking out some stuff that I really wasn't able to get to during bow season. So that's kind of like what I like to do during gun season, is creep around and kind of scout as I'm hunting. But a lot of people just blow through this stuff, not even caring or looking around. But this is the time of year where I gather the most intel, because there's still a ton of fresh sign from the rut, and I can get an idea where the bucks are moving And down here in this creek bottom, it looks really good. It's a sulfur creek, so there's not much use of the water, but there's a big swamp over here I want to check out and see how thick it is, and that could probably be potential buck bedding. But there's rubs and scrapes all down through this bottom, and it's a bunch of sulfur and slag hills down here. That's a lot of public land here in Ohio, especially southeast area, where there's a bunch of coal mining going on, and they just kind of reclaimed the area, which for the most part it just sat here and eventually grew up some trees and whatnot. But there's a bunch of young pines down here, a bunch of thick stuff, and there's some oaks scattered throughout it, but it looks real good. I already bumped into 3 people, so this place definitely gets hammered during the gun season, but so does everywhere else. So we got about 2 hours of daylight left, so we're going to check this swamp out real quick and kind of look at it and then get on out of here, I think. I'm parked up the hill and back behind somebody's truck, not really like right behind them, but had to come in behind somebody, which honestly I don't really like doing, but I had to come down here and get this camera before somebody else found it. So you gotta do what you gotta do. And as soon as I popped up over the hill, I ran into them, and they're out in the middle of this field, so if anything, I want to bump them a deer. So they should appreciate the fact that I'm down here in this bottom doing all the work. But not really expecting too much today, maybe a random deer, but we'll see what happens. Most likely you want to see on the other side of this gun season, because I'm not a big gun hunter. I bow hunt, and about this time of year it gets really, really tough, especially once they start slinging slugs around in the woods. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to put in the work and see if it don't pay off in the gun season, but I'm really looking forward to getting back out there with a bow. Not really looking forward to freezing my butt off, but like I said, you gotta do what you gotta do, and you gotta put in the work to make it happen. So I just walked this little beaver dam across here. There's all kinds of hoof prints. Right on the other side here, it's all shredded up. So it's pretty cool that these bucks and other deer walking across that beaver dam just to save them some time, or save them from being detected, or avoiding the human pressure. It's all beat down down through here, but I know it's from the beavers. The beavers are actually tearing stuff up down here, which is weird that they're doing that to a sulfur pond, because there's no fish in it, so it's not really much of a purpose to dam up a sulfur pond. But hey, I'm not a beaver, so maybe they know what's going on. Up on the other side of the swamp here, and this looks real, real good. But I know for a fact there was somebody in here this November. Somewhere in here. I don't know how far he went down in this bottom, but I'm guessing he went pretty far. But it looks awesome down here. A bunch of hardwoods, and clear down at the bottom here, there's nothing but thick bedding, and of course this swamp. All over that side down there, that's nothing but bedding. Right in front of the camera there. Looks pretty good down here. Big open woods, though. Good chance that people kill a lot of deer out here. I'm just wondering how much pressure this area gets during the early season. There's quite a bit during the rut. Well, I think old boy forgot a stand out here. This thing's crusty and rusty. It's been out here for several years. It's got a lock on it, so that's the reason why nobody's taken it yet, I'm sure. But this is honestly kind of a low-key little spot right off the main access. If you look at it from the top, you'd think I ain't going down in there, but I worked down through that little deer path, and it's kind of alright paths down in here. It'd be noisy getting down here, but it's kind of nice down here. Once you clear all this crap behind you, that's what I come through, all that thick crap. But I found one little path that I can get through here. I'm guessing that's why old boy left us stand, is because it was so noisy getting down in here, clanging metal. We'll probably sit on this point for the rest of the evening. We've got about an hour left. We'll see what happens. It looks good down in here, though. Looks real good. Alright, got down to this little point here out in front of me. That's probably where I want to hang out the rest of the day here. There's just no sense of me going any farther because we've got about an hour left. But this big bottom looks awesome. Looks like a big rut funnel. And the wind's pretty much hitting me in the face right now, and I'm up on a hill, so this would be a good spot to catch a buck cruising. I'm sure people know that, but might hang a stand here next year. Yo, what's up? It's day 2 of Ohio gun season. Looks like we got a bunch of tracks in here from yesterday, but it could have been from me, but it definitely looks like fresh tracks from today or yesterday. So that's not promising, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do out here on the public. So this morning I got pictures of a real nice shooter buck down in this hollow, so we're gonna go set up, see if we can't shoot one today. And it looks like everybody went left today, so we're gonna go right. Don't look like any footprints back this way. But anyway, we're gonna sneak around here and see if we can't shoot a buck tonight. Maybe even a doe. I'm starting to get a little desperate, so we'll see what happens, but it's really, really cold. It's about 25 degrees, plus we got probably 15, 20 mile an hour winds. So these deer are probably hunkered down, especially during the day with all this gunfire going around. But we're going to give it a go anyway, because there's tons of deer out here. They're starting to get used to nobody being out here, so we're going to give it a shot and see what happens tonight. I got the saddle with me. We'll pop up on this ridge and see if I can't set it up. But mainly, I'm worried about just getting in a spot and having a good chance at a deer at night. So maybe in the saddle or on the ground, depending on the setup. But we'll see when we get there. I'd love to keep this camera rolling, but I'm limited to time on my recording and battery life, so I'm gonna shut this camera off unless I see a deer. But I'm just gonna kind of pluck around out here and see what happens. Alright, y'all, I'm up in the tree. Decided to set up the saddle here and watch this little bottom. It drips down rivers. This creek crossing, and there's 2 separate bedding areas that are on either side of me here, and there's a bunch of deer sign down in this cut. But early this morning and in the daylight last night, we had some deer cross through this bottom here, so hoping they do the same thing tonight. I get a good shot at a doe or a buck, but it's a good chance that we're going to have some movement here later in the evening, just because there's not a whole lot of pressure down here, and I know there's a bunch of pressure around, so I'm imagining all these deer are funneling down through here and bedding up where they think it's safe. But for the most part, I think a lot of the movement's going to be early and late at night, so hopefully I catch one slipping. The wind's going everywhere, which is not the best situation, but you got to deal with it, I suppose. especially in these big bottoms. But we're going to hang tight and see what happens the rest of the evening. This is the first time I've been in the saddle with a gun, so this is a little weird, but we're going to give it a shot. Alright, like I said, I'm watching this big bottom. There's a bunch of pine up this way. And off to the left, it cuts back off of that point where all these hardwoods come down in this creek crossing. You can see all those pines back behind that little point right there. But up on top of this point, we got a bunch more pines. So I'm assuming they're bedding up in that thicker stuff right up against them pines. And they're coming down here in the evenings and in the morning to eat. So we'll see what happens. That's just what I'm predicting. Alright folks, back at it again. This is Wednesday, 3rd day of gun season, and we're going to give it a go. Looks like we got some traffic in here today again, so these deer are probably hunkered down, plus we got a bunch of high wind. We're going to pop down over this ridge where I got a camera and replace the batteries and probably move it. I want to go up this little ridge and check out this little bedding area. And it's this time of gun season where you really got to kind of push your limits and get up close to that cover and pretty much kick them up out of there. But we're going to walk down over the ridge and see what happens. We got a ton of boot tracks in here, so that's not a great sign, but we're going to do what we got to do. Alright, as you guys can tell, we got a really fresh scrape and some fresh buck poop here. And I had my camera set up over top of this scrape. And I got a couple of nice pictures of 2 different bucks. So there's definitely some deer in this area. This trail works up this hill, so I'm gonna kind of creep my way up here and grunt as I'm going.